come and push your dad up to the bar.
I got it. Oh,
That's
boy.
really sad if I can't get up to the bar by myself. Welcome to another edition of Drinking with Craig and Roger. I'm Roger.
And I'm Craig. We are going straight to the bottom today. We are going to do a blind tasting of bottom shelf bourbons.
Yes, bottom shelf bourbons are ones that are the least expensive. If you're going to have a mixed drink, you'd certainly, unless you're trying to be extravagant, don't want to put in a very expensive bourbon.
No.
What you want to do is put in a less expensive one because you won't taste any subtleties in the aging process.
And in the lineup today that we're going to test to see if these things are drinkable in and of themselves or where they stand exactly, you found in your stores, literally on the bottom shelf.
Old Crow, which
Ooh.
was only about 12 bucks.
Yeah, that one I'm skeptical on.
Ancient Age, which is 3 years old.
And from the Buffalo Trace, line that everyone goes gaga for.
Old Granddad,
Should be good.
McKenna,
Skeptical. Hate the packaging on this one.
Evan Williams,
Good.
and Rebel.
This one I think is a little bit cheating. It was literally on the bottom shelf, but I don't think I would consider it a bottom shelfer, and I think it's going to smoke the other ones, personally.
Well, there's a reason why. And I'll tell you what it is in just a second.
Okay.
Jim Beam was on the second shelf from the bottom, but I included it because it was in the same price range. It was less than $20.
That's what you would consider a bottom shelfer.
But one of the things that distillers can do to lower the price of the bottle is to add more water. These things are distilled at about 130 proof. They're aged at about 125 proof.
Okay.
And then the more water you put in it at the end before you bottle it, the less you can sell it for and still make a good profit.
Yep.
So Jim Beam, Old Crow, Ancient Age, Old Granddad, and McKenna are all 80 proof, which is the maximum amount of water you can put in.
Yeah, it's the legal minimum strength.
Now, Evan Williams at 86 proof is going to have a significant body advantage over the others.
Yeah.
And then Rebel at 100 proof is even more intense. So there's going to be a significant difference between the first five and these two. But they all are on the bottom level of cost for the whiskeys. The
Yeah.
Rebel was like $22 and the rest were all under 20.
Yep, and I wanted to cheekily include what was always a bottom shelfer until Pappy Van Winkle blew up. Weller Special Reserve. This should be $25 maybe, and that's more than it used to be for sure. I mean, this was a bottom shelf whiskey until everything Buffalo Trace touched turned to gold. And now you get people paying $60 or even $100 or more for this bottle. So I wanted to see how it does blind against these other bottom shelfers.
And what's the proof on Old Weller?
This is 45%, so 90 proof.
Okay, well, that'll have a significant advantage over the first five. Now, we have to confess that we might be prejudiced against some of these just because of the label and whatever their price is. So we're going to taste them blind and go from there.
Yep. And so let's get these things poured, Ellen, and we will begin tasting. And we're back with the 8 pours in front of us. We've got them numbered from your left to your right, number 1 through 8, moving like that. And the way we're going to kind of review these is we are going to assign a 1 to 10 score, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, on 3 factors for each one, on the nose, the palate, and the finish. And then at the end, Ellen will add up all the scores and we'll have our, ranking from best to worst based on the numbers. Okay?
All right.
And really quick before we get started, if you like what we're doing, please like this video and subscribe to see everything that we come out with in the future. Who knows what it'll be. And if you have any comments about these, please leave them down below. We would love to hear your thoughts. And without a further ado, let's get into them.
Absolutely.
So let's kick her off here with number 1. whatever this
Cheers.
is. Cheers.
Well, it's a nice clean nose. I smell a little caramel sweetness. in it.
There's some there's other stuff there, but it's a little hot of a nose. It's hard. I'm having a hard time picking up some of the other flavors and aromas outside of the alcohol. Let's give it a try. Taste is fine. It's pretty light, fairly smooth. A little cinnamon, a little spices. I think this has to be an 80 proofer.
I would think so. After all, 5 of the 8 are 80 proof. But it's a nice drink. I mean, if
Yeah, this is pretty nice.
I'm okay with drinking it by itself.
You can drink this by itself. It's not a thinker. You're not going to dwell deeply focusing on it. You don't want to focus on this all night long by itself, but good for watching something, having some sips, you know.
There's a very nice caramel center to the taste, and there's a little bit of the caramel in the finish too.
So, where are we at on this one? On a score, on the nose.
Oh, I'm going to say this is about 5 all the way through.
That's what I was thinking. 5 on the nose. I'm going to give the palate a 4, and I'm going to give the finish a 5.
Okay, I'm 5 on all of them. But that's
So
okay.
all 5s for Roger, and 5, 4, and 5 for me.
Number 2.
Number 2. There we go. Oh, that's a different nose for sure.
Yeah, it's got more. It's a stronger nose.
Almost, it's richer. Almost a little coconut hit me right at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't feel any of the sharpness of the alcohol in the
No,
in the nose.
way less alcohol for it on the nose. That's a good flavor. It's better.
Oh, my heavier body.
Yep.
A real nice malty, not malty, but caramelly type sweet center in the taste, and the finish is surprisingly short. I'm gonna try it again.
Yeah. Getting, again, maybe it's just my palate today, cinnamon. A lot of cinnamon on the finish, which would make me, I'm kind of thinking that this may be a more rye forward bourbon. Definitely an improvement.
Oh yeah.
That's a little nutty, Yeah, I would say it's a little pecan type of nuttiness.
Yeah, well, the cinnamon is, for me, prominent in the finish.
If I had to guess which one this was, based on what I know about them, I'm guessing this could potentially be the old granddad. It seems to fit the profile.
Well, anyway, but it's a nice one, and
Yeah.
whatever its cost is, which is going to be less than $22, I think you can drink it straight and not feel like you're being cheated.
Definitely, yeah. I would prefer to drink this one straight versus number 1. So, as far as a rating, I think I'm gonna give the nose.
I'm going to say 7.
I'm close to, I was thinking either 6 or 7, so I'll give it, I'm going to avoid the decimals, so I'll say 7 for these purposes.
Put me down for 7 across the board on this one. I think it's pretty nice for an inexpensive bourbon.
Yeah. I think I'll do the same thing, 7s across the board. Nice showing for this group. All right, number 3. Oh.
Ooh, okay.
That's a better nose.
Buttery, I think.
That is.
Buttery.
Yeah, buttery. Butter, caramel.
Yeah, a little bit of alcohol.
Rich, just
in
a
the
little
nose,
bit,
but
not nearly
much.
as
No,
much as
no,
some
no.
of these others. This is my favorite nose of the 3 so far. Well, okay, falls short once I tasted it. This one's very mellow.
Yeah, yeah. Things are a little more toned down in the palate of the whiskey.
Yeah, and the finish is barely there.
It feels a lot thinner than than number 2.
I'm getting that continued, what I would say probably caramel flavor throughout. Some nuttiness again.
The cinnamony part of it is very subdued.
Maybe a little maple syrup type flavor.
Maybe.
It's very, very subdued. This one just kind of starts high with the nose, and then you're like, and just kind of whimpered out. This one, I think that this is Buffalo Trace. I got a little bit of a grape note. Just this signature to me, what I associate with Buffalo Trace grape note. If I had to guess to make a surefire fool of myself, I'm gonna guess this is the Ancient Age. We'll see. It's perfectly okay.
I would drink this straight, too. You know what I mean?
I could drink it straight. There's just not enough going on to keep my interest, I think.
No, it's not something that you want to sit around and just pay all your attention to it. But if you're watching television or something else and you want a little something to sip on, this is fine.
A little heat in the finish somehow, and yeah, I mean it'd be fine for blending. So I think for this one, I'm gonna give the nose on this one a 7, but then I'm gonna give the palate a 5, and I'm gonna give the finish a 3.
Well, I'll agree with you with the 7 and 5, but I think 4 instead of 3 for that one. But
4 on the finish.
On the finish, yeah. All right, moving onward.
Yeah. There we go. Number 4.
Interesting.
There's big time nuts there.
Yeah, it's sort of a nutty and caramelly type nose.
Oh man.
No cinnamon in the smell to me.
No, this is the first one with no, not the first one, but yeah, there's no cinnamon. This is nuts, and more nuts. And it's a sweet, like rounded, rich, nut forward flavor to me, like pecans.
Well, the body is not that heavy, but it's very nice and quite sweet.
Yeah, this is a good, smooth, easy sipper.
In the finish, I taste husk of the corn.
Oh, you got your husk of the grain in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing for you?
Well, yeah, it makes it a little more complicated than something that's really
It's got
simple.
some personality.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's not overpowering, but it's there. That's good.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I like this one. I'm gonna give it an 8 on the nose. I'm going to give it either a 7 or an 8 on the palate. I like the profile. For these purposes, I'm gonna give it an 8 on the palate, and I'm gonna give it a 7 on the finish.
Well, I'm going to give it 7 across the board.
Okay.
And you have to remember, one of the reasons why you want to drink whiskey is because you taste the grain and all the components of the grain and all the stuff in it. If you didn't want to taste that, you could drink vodka, which has hardly any of that stuff in it.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And so here we are at the 4th inning stretch, midway through the game.
Midway through the game.
On to number 5.
Sure.
Into the second half.
I also got a little bit of citrus on number 4 right at the end. Okay. So it's got some complexity.
Oh, yeah, good.
Good one. This one's a little younger, more alcohol forward smell to me. I will give it this. They are all pretty distinct from each other. They're not very samey, which is cool. Sweet. Pretty simple. Easy going.
And a little bit of what you might say nutty, but I call husk, on the top of the palate. It's got
this one's perfectly fine.
A mild body, yeah. So, but that's it.
But it's very mild. It's not doing a lot for me. It's a pleasant drink.
It's thin.
One has been the least pleasant. This is pleasant, but it's thin. What do you think on your ratings?
Oh, I think we go at 6 across the board with this. I don't think any part of it is significantly better than the other. But
I'm going to give this one probably a 5 on the nose, 6 on the palate, and I'm going to give it a 4 on the finish, just because the finish is so mild. It's just kind of gone.
yeah. What you're tasting is the husk of the grain in it. That's it.
Hey, before we move on, going back to number 1, coming back to it now, it's very, I would say, maple syrup, pancake syrup on the nose.
But it is very thin. It feels watery to me.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are through 5, right?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Which has the darkest body that I can see here.
Yeah, this one stands out right out of the gate. Makes me think it's probably the Rebel.
Oh boy, that is so buttery on the nose.
Buttery, that's good, yeah. Sweet and buttery, rich. Very
A little bit of caramel
desserty,
underneath the butter.
very desserty.
Yeah, but no alcohol or youth in it.
Yeah, it's a good nose.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got more to it.
That's the firmest, heaviest body so far.
Yeah, I agree. And the biggest, the most flavorsome of the bourbons that we've tried so far. And it has by far the longest finish, and a nice one.
I don't know if you agree with me, but I taste fruit in this. Cherry comes to mind.
There's some fruit in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, some nice sweetness. It's got a little bit more of that, what I'm calling cinnamon, a little citrus, some spices. You know, it's a little spicy, but it pays off with a much bigger finish.
Yeah,
than any of the ones we've had so far.
I think you would be happy, or I would be happy, just tasting this for itself. Not doing something else. It's not background. This is the thing.
Buttery, man,
Buttery.
you're right.
Butter.
Boy, the butter on the nose, interesting. So yeah, this is a winner here, especially in general. This one is good, and I would definitely put it above the others so far.
Well, I'm going to give it a 9 for the nose and an 8 for the palate and the finish.
Okay.
Because it really smells great.
It does, it does. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get much better in this tasting. So 9 for the nose. I'll go 9 for the nose, 8 for the palate, 9 for the finish.
Fine.
Yeah. Good one.
Nice.
It's a standout in this tasting, for sure. That's a nice one. Yeah.
Into the last quarter.
All right, that's going to be a tough one to follow up, I think. So
well,
let's
into
give
the
number
7th inning here.
Yeah, the 7th inning stretch. Oh, banana.
Yeah, there's something there on
Some
the
fruit
top.
there. Banana, pineapple. The lightest nose. It's the least, rich,
I
dark.
taste very little anything like cinnamon in it.
Boy, that smells good.
And it's hard to, maybe there's a little butter. Just a tiny bit.
Okay.
That's why, but I don't smell a lot of caramel.
No, it's, much brighter, lighter of a nose in terms of the notes than the others. I like this nose a lot. Okay. And the flavor is a little different than the smell.
Yeah, it's actually kind of disappointing after the smell.
No.
Its body is light.
Yes.
And it just doesn't have any of those high fruity notes in the palate that I'll try it again.
It's there at the end. So in the finish, it becomes a little fruity again.
The actual palate of it is very, in my opinion, indistinct. You know.
Yeah, I agree. Generic, indistinct palate. Pretty nice finish. A little hot on the finish, but
Not
it
much.
gives it some
no,
length.
it doesn't have any of the cinnamon that some of the other ones have had.
Just a touch, but no, it's definitely less. It's got a little bit of a boozy kick on the finish to me, but that gives it length. And so it has a nice finish. That's interesting. This one smells great. It finishes great.
In the middle.
And the
That's-
actual core of the flavor, that you're tasting is, yeah, like you said,
not very interesting in the palate, but at the beginning, so you have to smell it a long time, drink it quickly, and then savor the aftertaste.
If we want to embarrass ourselves, what do we think this is? I think this might be, for some reason, I think this might be Jim Beam. It's fine to drink by itself. It's definitely some interest there in the nose and the finish. So,
But it's not going to reward hours of sipping it and tasting it.
This would be a really good blender,
Yeah.
I think, because it will bring some nice flavor and other notes to what you're doing. So for this one, I'm going to give this one a 9 on the nose. I'm going to give it a 6 on the palate, and I'll give it a 7 on the finish. What do you think? Nose?
Anyway, I would go maybe about 5 on the nose and 4 on the finish, and maybe 4 on the palate and 5 on the finish. I think.
Okay, all right.
And then to the bottom of the 8th here.
Yeah. Okay.
Last, but we hope certainly not least.
Yeah, hopefully not least.
Oh, nice buttery nose. I smell no youth in this one at all on the nose.
It's got a nice
little
nose.
bit caramel, yeah. It's
Little-
yeah, very nice.
A little bit of the husk of the grain, as I guess you would say, on the nose.
Yeah, a little bit of something there. Mm-hmm. All right.
So it's got an interesting nose. It's good. That's a disappointing one.
Yeah, iced tea, very mild cinnamon taste in it, so it may have some from rye in the mash bill.
Yeah, young. It's seeming kind of young to me.
The palate is disappointing compared to the nose.
I don't like it. And the finish is kind of bitter to me. Doesn't leave me
A little bit
with a
bitter.
great flavor in my, on my taste buds. I think it may be slightly stronger than some of the others.
You want to think of it as an India Pale Bourbon?
India Pale Bourbon. Ugh.
It's sort of hoppy.
A little bit. This one is just kind of unexciting, and it's passable, but it's just not great. I don't like it.
Yeah,
that
I'll
much.
give it 5 straight across the board. I think it's okay, but I'm not going to turn this down. If
that
it's free.
sounds right. 5 across the board sounds about right to me.
Okay.
All right, so I'm dying to know. We got to know the order of these things. Ellen has tabulated
I
the
have
totals.
tabulated your scores. There were no ties.
No ties. That's
No,
good.
Your scores are
All right, I like that.
different. Okay, so the lowest with a rating of 29.
Our worst
total,
whiskey, number
which
1.
happened to also be number 1. Old Granddad.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Sorry, Granddad.
Wow, Old Granddad.
Yeah.
Not a great showing, Old Granddad. That's a little disappointing. Okay.
I guess Granddad was kind of weak.
Yeah, he is. He's starting to fade.
He's not as strong as he used to be.
Not in his prime.
Okay, and this is interesting. So
Okay.
next worst with a score of 30 is Old Crow.
Okay.
And that was number 8.
That's not too surprising.
So here's number 8.
Okay. Oh, that was our last one. Yeah, that seems about right based on what we tasted. So having old in the title is maybe not a great sign.
And then with a score of 31, the only one that you guessed correctly, Ancient Age.
Hey, okay. So I had that little bit of that profile.
Yeah, you did, the Buffalo Trace profile.
Okay.
Score of 31.
All right.
And next, with a score of 34, is the Henry McKenna.
Okay. Well,
Well.
it's got ugly packaging, but for me, I hate it. But
Well, it wasn't the very bottom.
wasn't the bottom.
In the bottom half, but not in the bottom.
Yeah. All right. Decent.
All right, and moving up
Yes.
with a score of 36, which you guessed incorrectly. This is Evan Williams.
Okay. What did we
Thought it-
say about that one?
Let's see. You said that it was kind of banana, a light nose, and a little bit hot. And you guessed that it was Jim Beam.
Well, the first 4 are all 80 proof.
Yeah.
Evan Williams is 86.
So yeah, we did detect a little bit bump up in alcohol. That's right. Yeah, all the weakest ones.
Well, there's
finished
still
in the
180
bottom.
proof in the top 3.
Okay.
Okay. And so after that, with a score of 42,
Okay.
was the Rebel 100.
Oh wow, that was not our champion.
No, but it was 100 proof.
And
Jeez.
you guessed that was Old Granddad.
Still pretty
All
good
right.
showing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Wow, that
Okay.
means Jim Beam is in the top 2 and Weller is in the top 2.
So you want to guess which is which?
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna-
guess Jim Beam is is our second favorite, and Weller was our number 1.
Yeah, with a score
Wow.
of 44 for Jim Beam.
Mm-hmm.
And Weller topped out with 51.
This was our champion. Wow, it set itself apart. We liked it. I wanted it to come out lower, but it is the king of many of the. Well, it used to be a bottom shelf bourbon. That's where it set itself apart, is that it was a bottom shelfer that kind of punched above its weight. It is quite good, but maybe most impressive to me is that Jim Beam came in second.
At 80 proof and less than $20 a bottle.
Jim Beam makes a lot of other stuff, but even their base level, which coincidentally is, I think, the world's #1 selling bourbon whiskey, actually does pretty good. It comes up ahead of
It's not number 1 for nothing, you know.
Yeah, comes up ahead of a lot of the others in this tasting. These 3 you can have by themselves. These you probably just want to mix, you know,
Yeah.
or they're good for a bender.
Or whatever. Everyday drinking. You know, whatever.
Everyday drinking.
Until next time.
With our #1, the Weller Special Reserve. Cheers.
Cheers.